Welcome to everyone to, I guess, not Table Talk. This is just a casual video. I'm the host, the Battle Gamer, with my co-host, Glue Boy.
Hello.
And our wonderful guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oh, me? Hello, everybody. I'm Frank from What is Tabletop. Hi, nice to meet you. I just wanted to do a sitcom intro. You know the
Yeah.
I love
Cheer.
those.
Cheers, applause.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Then all of a sudden, John Stamos shows up.
Yeah.
It's got to be
It's
there.
like, why is he here?
But what do you do?
Oh, yeah, we talk about all things tabletop RPG, and specifically, we go really in depth about mechanics and how different games do different things. So check us out. It's really fun. You'll probably enjoy at least one of our videos, and if not, thank you for the view.
Fair enough. There will be links down in the description below to go check them out. So today I wanted to have a conversation because one, I find the general discourse on TTRPG theory, game theory, you can call it, on YouTube to be really dry, and it's very hard for me to watch literally anyone. It has been their channel that I jumped onto very recently that I've actually wanted to watch more than one video, which is very rare. No shade to anyone. Maybe I'm just too ADHD. I don't know. But unless there's some level of entertainment, I guess. I don't know. There has to be some special flavor that has to keep me on. And like a lot of tabletop videos in general are just like how to abuse this mechanic, how to play the most optimal character, how to play your silly little guy, or
Right.
here is my OSR like how-to manual. Let's go over it step by step in the most like easy to understand but flavorless method possible. And your guys' channel has been a little bit different, and you guys have an interesting dynamic that actually very much is the same as Alex and mine, because I am the longtime player or tabletop player slash GM, and Alex has been the one who's been doing it for only now a handful of years.
Yeah, I got into it like with the big tabletop renaissance of 2016.
Ooh,
That's where
that's
I
a good
got
time,
into
though.
it. Oh yeah.
And I'm very interested in like the theory of it and the actual like detail, the game design, and the overall like goes way too deep into the subject for any normal kind of conversation. And Alex is like, I think I like this because it makes me feel good.
It's usually where a lot of opinions end. It's just this
Now-
this strikes the brain.
Now, question for you: which one of you guys gets more comments saying you're too mean to the other one?
We don't have that.
Okay, so just
Yeah.
us, just me.
Just you guys.
Just me?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That is good because if that is a comment I'd immediately move on to, like, hey, no. We just like debating shit.
Yeah. No, Charles usually is like, guys, I wouldn't be friends with Frank if he was mean to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, people can't take ribbing as anything other than mean when it's not them and their friends. So, you
Oh,
know,
for sure.
it's just kind of the us and them mentality. But I want to have a chat because I thought it would be really interesting just to talk about some general tabletop theory stuff and just have, some general ideas. So just to kind of cover some bases for any of my viewers who might not have seen your content before, like what's your overall general experience with tabletop, and what about tabletop do you enjoy and like to like really participate in?
Yeah, so like most people, you start with D&D because, I mean, what else is there, right? And then you start expanding out a little bit more and finding other RPGs to play and just enjoying that. But we started the channel because Charles and I were actually writing partners. We were writing like nonfiction stuff, or no fiction stuff. We weren't writing nonfiction. Golly. And he was like, I want to do a YouTube channel with you. And I closed my laptop and I was like, are you sure about that? It's going to be a lot of work. Are you sure? And so we were going to actually kind of do like a little bit of D&D here, a little bit of like other RPGs, but we found that people really enjoyed us talking about anything that wasn't D&D, especially since this was right around the OGL,
Debacle,
Yeah. People not being a fan of that. And so we were like, cool, we're just going to keep going down that way. And then we found that as we kept releasing videos, because we tried to do like GM advice or world building advice, and they would do okay. But what people really liked watching was like all right, here's how this system does leveling up. Here's how this system handles, um, classes. And those were the things that people really were interested in, was like, oh, I've never heard of this RPG before. Oh, it does it this way. And so we started getting designers really being like prominent. And so we're like, cool, we're going to talk about, the philosophy of stuff. We're going to talk about design ideas, because I'm fortunate enough that I've had some design experience before. I've designed, I co-designed some board game stuff. There's a friend of mine who actually has gotten a board game published. And so I've like done playtesting that way. I've done playtesting for like other board games. We're actually developing a trading card game. Me, him, and another guy. And then Charles was like, "Oh, we're talking about RPG design. I want to design an RPG." And I'm like, I closed my laptop and was like, "Are you sure?" And so half of the videos we make is me explaining a concept to Charles and being like, "Here's how feats work." Now, you might think feats are just this. They're not. They can be this, 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 and this. They can be the entirety of the game. They can be just a little snippet. They can have trees where like you go down and you need like 15 feats to get to the one you really want, or you could just have prerequisites and stuff like that. So that's ultimately kind of where we come from. I know a lot of people in our comments really enjoy that one. We don't say any one way is the best way, because it's not, right? Like, it depends on your game. Each game is going to have perks and downfalls, and you just have to be aware of that. Two, another comment we get surprisingly a lot of is, hey, it's WebDM. And I'm like, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, good. I mean, that's just exactly the kind of conversations we end up having. Table Talk, usually, if it's not news, we're just talking about some philosophy, some theory that I am just like, hey, let's talk about this. In fact, just this last Thursday, we talked about how necessary failure is in tabletop. It was a really fun conversation.
Hotly debated.
Actually. Yeah.
Hotly debated.
Well, yeah, because it's exactly as you said, and I think one of the inherent problems in the tabletop scene is it's not a strong enough, I guess, gaming media to have its own subgenres feel like actual subgenres. So, for instance, when you talk about video games, you understand that there's Call of Duty and FIFA. But when you talk about tabletop, most people just think D&D. They don't think about subgenres of tabletop. So it's just kind of one of those things where we're still relatively in the adolescence of tabletop as far as like a popular gaming media nowadays. But that's excellent. Also, I'm currently working on my own TTRPG. Well, technically my own system / 2 TTRPGs. So that's something that's always fun to listen to you guys talk about as well. So getting on to something that people can actually sink their teeth into in this video. I had the question earlier in my mind and then I spaced. It was
The worst.
I've had a lot.
What is your favorite color?
Yeah, what's your favorite color? You're wrong. You're wrong. The comments will say you're wrong because chartreuse is actually the true favorite color.
Ooh, cerulean is pretty up there, though. Gotta admit.
I'm an olive person myself.
Those are certainly words that were used. Purple's pretty cool.
Periwinkle, sir. We're gonna go with periwinkle.
Now, actually, one of our friends, that's one of his favorite colors, just because.
Periwinkle. Great name.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's just because he named a character Periwinkle at one point. Periwinkle, Destroyer of Worlds.
Oh, naturally.
Yeah, he was a demon parrot.
Oh. I was thinking like a halfling or a gnome.
Nope.
Way off.
Totally different kind of game.
Can't make it too easy.
That would be too easy for our group. So actually, the question did come back to mind. What's in the current tabletop scene, like, as tabletop is at least like commonly viewed, do you see that it has any like problems, or do you think it's just okay as it is? Like, what's your general impression of the current tabletop scene?
Everyone goes to Dungeons and Dragons, and I think a majority of people would actually have a lot better of a time playing different games. That's my hot
Cue
take.
celebratory sound
Same.
effects.
Oh man.
So not to spark outrage, but I'm here to spark outrage. We kind of talked about it in our video. but I am so disappointed in Critical Role not using Daggerheart because it'd just be great to have like the biggest actual play do something besides D&D
Yeah, I agree.
and show people you can do something besides D&D. And also, it's just the fact that like I don't understand it. Like literally, Daggerheart fits their playstyle perfectly. Like it fits Brennan's style perfectly. And yet they're gonna be like, no, we're just gonna use 5th edition, and we're gonna have Brennan, who is famous for barely using 5th edition's actual rules and kind of just does whatever he wants. Like, just use the game that's better for you guys.
I didn't watch that
Like, it
video.
just
Did you
bothers me.
actually research why, or some of the theories why they did it?
I mean, there's so many theories. I know a lot of people are speculating maybe there was financial is probably a huge one. Whether it's they're scared that they're not going to get the same amount of views, because that is a true thing. There are
Yeah,
people who started after Charles and I started our channel who are doing far better than us because they're talking about exclusively D&D. We're not talking about D&D, and so we're having a smaller growth, but I think it's more substantial just because the people who are watching us are actually
yeah,
really
having
enjoying it.
a more loyal base is important.
Right. So we're having. So I think it's possibly that. I've seen some other theories where it's like, well, there's not enough options in Daggerheart. To which I say, you guys know the people making the game. Just have more options. Like
Also would
homebrew some.
also would be like the coolest marketing material like ever if you were playing Daggerheart and then like all these people, these Critical Role folks, they're like promoing and testing out some new
Right.
stuff that they're gonna drop. Get people hyped for it.
Yeah. Like it's just if yeah, it's that's my I don't like that. And like I've also been a part of so many game groups where like what one person enjoys is not what the rest of the group enjoys. And we
Mhm.
kind of talked about that in our as of the time of this recording most recent video about different cultures of play where you have people who want tactics. They want to be able to look at a map and say, okay, I have this much movement. I want to be able to do this. I have made my character in such a way that I want to benefit the game's play. But then you have people who are like, I just want to know how the story works. And then, of course, you have the weirdos like me and a few of my other friends who do both, where it's like, no, no, no. I want to mechanically have a amazing character who also has flaws that could be manipulated for story reasons. Like, we're weird like that. But I don't
I
think a lot of games necessarily handle both of those well. And so D&D is kind of that, oh, everybody fits into it, everybody knows what it is, and we can kind of kit bash it if needed. And that's probably why most people play D&D for lack of a better argument.
I can see more and more as you talk why Cam hit you up. Because I gotta say, this is like
We have the
bar
same
for
thoughts, yeah.
bar, the exact same opinions and takes we're delivering constantly.
I did watch a lot of your videos ahead of time to be like, they have to agree with me.
No, yeah. I
No,
appreciate
I'm
it,
kidding.
but no, I contacted you because I liked your content, not because I
Oh, well,
thought you
thank
would
you.
watch mine. Though, even though I can make a whole video about this, let me tell you my quick theory on why Critical Role didn't do it. Just because I think you would probably fully understand. They did it to eat D&D's lunch, more or less.
Okay. I think I've heard this theory.
Yeah, so essentially what it is, Critical Role can use D&D's brand recognition
Mhm.
mixed with their own. They already are known for making D&D content, and whatever new content they produce with Brendan's materials specifically, because it's not going to be Matt's, which there might be
Right.
some kind of contractual things going on,
Right.
they can monetize almost completely without D&D's hands in their cookie jar.
Right. They just can't use like Beholder or like
They can't use
certain
any
certain
D&D
words.
copyrights, obviously.
Right.
So they get to, and Daggerheart's already proven that without a full campaign, people will buy the book. Now that's not proven in the long term, but it's proven in the short term. And so it was the most financially, and honestly, probably also Wizards of the Coast probably offered them some kind of deal to ensure it,
Yeah.
because just because I know WotC is not competent enough to understand that they're going to have their lunch eaten by Critical Role by making this move. So Critical Role is just going to get double the profits for pretty much nothing. So that's my general
Two of our
theory.
lead designers just went over to Darrington Press.
Yeah.
Is there anything we should be concerned about with that? Nah, I think we'll be okay.
In line with all the decisions they make, like a game that majorly boosted all of our numbers and like attention just a critically acclaimed video game just dropped. What should we do? Cancel the other video game projects we have in house. We don't need those.
Or their VTT project that got canceled. And the rumor goes because an executive thought they were making a video game and then was told they weren't and decided to pull the plug on the project. That's a rumor that I've heard some D&D channels make. With how WotC's been run, I wouldn't be surprised.
Basically, since Hasbro has is like Wizards of the Coast makes us a majority of our money. The second they realize that, they have been ruining that. Not even just with D&D, but with like Magic too. Like with half of their card games or like sets coming out now being IPs, where it's like, yeah, now you could be Spider-Man in Magic. Don't you want to be Spider-Man? It's like, no, I wanted to play a cool card game.
Actually, the IP sets are some of the best-selling sets they've had in recent years.
I know.
I also have to sit here. I have to sit here uncomfortable in the truth of like I need Magic the Gathering to start making their own stuff because their own lore is really interesting. Like back in the day, especially their unique things are cooler. While also, Assassin's Creed is the thing that got me into playing Magic because I'm an Assassin's Creed fanboy. Are the games good? Not really, but I get a run with Ezio, so hell yeah.
And I get sub-tangent. You know how mad I am about so CMON. If you're not familiar, cool. They used to be Cool Mini or not. They're CMON. They got the license to make an Assassin's Creed RPG, and it looks really cool. And I backed it, and it has not come out yet because CMON is going under basically.
No, you rise my hopes and you kick it right from under me.
I mean, we'll talk later. I have the PDF, so we'll talk later.
Ooh.
But the physical stuff is not being delivered yet, and I'm really upset about it because they gave you like minis and like a physical book and some like custom dice. It's actually a pretty interesting system. It's you're rolling d6s and you're trying to get a certain amount of matches equal to the skill you're rolling in. So like the first for like 1, 2, 3, and 4 are like your strength, agility, cunning, and like another skill that I can't remember off the top of my head. It's like social probably. And so if you want to make a strength check and you have a strength of 3, you got to roll d6s and get 3 strength symbols. And then like one of them's a wild, one of them's like a negative symbol. And so that there's some fun stuff in that. It's a very interesting system, and I wanted to explore it more. Such a shame that CMON is,
man, that's my jam is like a dice system too. That's my one of my favorite types is like a form of success fail with like extra things added. Like I will constantly shill the best dice system I've ever touched was Fantasy Flight Star Wars. And
it's so fun.
Yeah,
it's so
they've
fun,
talked about it on their channel quite a bit actually.
Hell yeah. Like, but the thing that holds me back is that I am an unrepentant Star Wars hater. Like I just don't care for the world at all or like the setting.
Have you heard of the Genesis system, which is literally that?
Yeah, I have. It's the thing I'm more interested in looking into. But it's like I like the Star Wars video games. Those are neat. Mm-hmm. I am not a big fan of Lucas as a director. I have a film background, so I can be as snobby as I need to about that.
I understand.
But like that game, I was in a game where I was pretending I was more of a Star Wars fan than I really was because I was having too much fun with the game and didn't want to deal with the social repercussions of me saying I don't like any of the movies except for 5.
Okay.
But yeah, it was so fun. That game is so good because it's the exact type of like interesting narrative system, a really fun blend of mechanics. I think the advantage disadvantage system that game introduces has yet to be fully replicated as good. I've played attempts, but that was the best.
Yeah, and that one does still have a downside of like you got to get used to that funky dice, and
you
can take a moment to like be like, hold on, what did I get?
We played Legend of the Five Rings. We know,
right? Oh yeah, so you get it.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. I'm also a Star Wars fan in the sense that I love the lore and I hate what most of the shows and movies are doing. I'm like, do anything else outside of the Skywalker saga. Like, I loved The Mandalorian season 1 and most of season 2 until Luke Skywalker shows up, and I'm like, why is Luke Skywalker here? I don't care. So I get you. I understand completely.
The Mandalorian show was fun when it was a space western.
Yep. Yeah, it really was.
Now, I know what we're going to talk about today. I thought of it because I've been thinking of what a generally good subject, because I was like, okay, maybe we can just kind of chat about whatever, and that's kind of good too. But I think if you have two people like us who are very similar and are very deep in it, I feel like when we get more granular, we're gonna start seeing differences. And so for you personally, and not in the sense of what you think would be most successful, what is your dream TTRPG?
Ugh, I don't know. Um, I I'm in that phase. Blue Boy might understand this too, as a fellow film nerd, where like you just are so interested in how people do things that like having a preference isn't necessarily there. So like when you first
Hmm.
like when you really get into film, it's like that where you're like, I don't necessarily care what I'm watching as long as it's good.
Yeah.
And
Or interesting.
like or interesting. It's yeah, it could be 2019 Cats. I
Yeah,
love how bad that movie is, and I will watch it over and over again because I'm like, you made that mistake intentionally?
I
It
believe it's
is
a
a
horror film.
fascinating train. It is a fascinating train wreck of a production.
So
Like just
bad. I
how
love it.
it's so weird.
It's a subliminal
We
horror film that just
Yeah.
will infect your nightmares.
my D&D group actually at the time we went and watched it together because we all knew it would be terrible and we were
Hmm.
right. We were so right. And then we eventually Charles eventually came into our group and we forced him to watch it one night and he's like, this is horrible." I'm like, "Yes. Yes it is." Uh So I don't know if because this is what's tough. I've been thinking about because I like to make lists of things. Like I have my favorite movies, and you can roast me for them later. But I don't know what my favorite like RPG is because like I said, I really like it when an RPG knows what it wants to do and has the
Hmm.
mechanics
Yeah.
built around that. You know, so like Daggerheart's resolution mechanic is super interesting. Of the 2d12, whichever rolls higher, you get that resource.
Yep. Hope and fear.
And you
Yeah.
Right. Super interesting there. And then the classic, well, what happens if they tie? Oh, it's a crit. And it's like, oh, let's look at the math. Oh, hey, actually a little bit more than a D20 critting. Perfect. Like that works really well. And it feels really nice in the game to be like, oh, cool, I crit. So now I get a hope and I also clear stress. That's awesome. So stuff like that's really interesting. But I also love like super more abstract games that are necessarily more like just like how are you feeling right now? Like Dread is great in the sense of like you're just pulling from a
Mm.
Jenga tower. That's
Yep.
it. There's no skill involved. Well, I mean, unless you're really good at Jenga. Um, but like that, 10 Candles is fun as long as you go in knowing your character will die, which is the whole point of the RPG. But then I also really like the tactical side of stuff too, like Lancer, like D&D 4E. That's actually my first edition I ever played. So like I don't know. It's hard to say what my like favorite game like system would even look like, honestly.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, I've kind of been in a similar ish boat as of late. To be fair, I'm a lifelong tabletop RPG hobbyist. Like, I enjoy the craft in general. We've played everything from uh, Shadowrun to Monster of the Week.
Nice.
And I enjoy each game individually for the parts that are good, because again, it's like video games, right? I probably played the most Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, which I wouldn't even call myself an MMO player, but that's the one I think I have the most hours in general. Yet the games I probably like enjoy the most, I play a lot of like Age of Wonders 4, which is a 4X, and I also love Elden Ring, and I also have been playing a good amount of Path of Exile, too. And I played a lot of the first one. So, it's like I can't say I like Path of Exile 2 more than Age of Wonders 4. They're just not even on the same playing
Right.
field, you know?
Right.
One time I want to play a strategy game, and another time I want to I want to click a button in the screen, goes and pretty colors, and loot
Yeah.
shoots out of everything. I totally get that for sure, but lately for me, I've been kind of like on the search for my tabletop game that really suits me, because like of my personal play preferences, I want a game that is crunchy, both narratively speaking and mechanically speaking. Like I
Mhm.
want rules that reinforce narrative play and make you want to play narratively in very interesting ways. Fabula Ultima's Ultima point system, or
Mhm.
Fabula point system, is a really good example. Not quite crunchy enough for me, but on the site, the right track. I've actually, in the game I'm developing, I took that kind of idea and I made the narrative point system, which depending on the scene you are in, you get themes and prompts that you can spend that essentially Fabula point for that can add those kinds of things or events to the scene. So if you're in like a warehouse, you might have like rusty equipment as a theme, and then you could spend a Fabula point to make a piece of rusty equipment be in a very advantageous position.
Yeah, it's a little like Fake Core in that sense.
Yeah, I haven't played too much
Where,
Fake Core, but I've been interested in checking it out.
Love Fake Core.
And
Oh,
honestly, another mechanic that I've been very interested in is the City of Mists / the Legend of the Mists, or their second one that came out.
Well, the second one was their cyberpunk, like futuristic, like Tokyo something. Outerscape.
I honestly haven't even
and
heard
then
of it.
The third one is Legend of the Mist.
Yeah, and I like their tag system.
Yes,
and I think
that one's good. Yeah.
That has a lot of potential for an interesting narrative crunch if you can design it with just a little bit more weight behind it. Like maybe not their intent behind it, but rewords for another game's purposes. But I like a game that has a good amount of mechanical feel. Like I feel like I'm playing a different game every time I make a new character because there's just different systems interact with, different ways I can play the character that feels good. But also I'm a narrative like player at heart, and I want there to be a crazy cool story and a lot of very interesting things. And like one of the points recently that has been, I don't know whether to call it my greatest shame. We're going back to play Anima Beyond Fantasy.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Which is the coolest game. That's only downside is the systems behind it are kind of atrocious.
Like I don't assume you've touched that game or looked into it too hard, huh?
Which one is this?
Anima Beyond Fantasy.
If you don't know Anima Beyond Fantasy, then if you don't recognize that title, then you've never tried to play it enough.
I'm here because I heard of like Animon Story, which is like a Digimon ripoff, but I don't think that's what that is.
No, this is a Spanish studio made their weeb anime TTRPG. It's a D100 system.
Another one?
Yeah. It's a D100 system that is point buy for your skills and everything like that. It's a you get so many points. The classes are more of just like how many points for each skill. So you might have 2 in vigor, which means every 2 points of development points goes to 1 point in a vigor skill kind of thing. It's very kind of GURPS in some ways. It's very kind of Green Ronin system, what they use for like their mutants and masterminds. It's very GURPS adjacent, but it's a little bit more refined. Anyway, it is unabashedly so much someone's like weeby TTRPG dream. They must have had a lot of money because I don't know how they make all the stuff they have for
There's
it.
a lot of books
and
3 video games.
Crazy art. But we end up going back to that game because it solves some of my biggest problems when it comes to TTRPGs. I hate that for a standard check at a particular level, if your character is geared towards like that thing, like we use the rogue lockpicking thing, like, in most TTRPGs, a level 1 character is like a hero, more than a villager, someone who has some level of experience, some level of specialness. But like in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, for instance, a standard lock with a DC 15 is still, you have a 25% chance of failing picking a lock at level 2 as a rogue. And that's if you like manage to get expertise, or well, you would have expertise at level 2.
Yeah.
So that I find to be terrible because like, so is my rogue better than the town locksmith who does that all the time? Or does the town locksmith also have a 25% failure chance at picking locks? And does he just suck at his job? And we talked about it on our stream last time too, where it's just like, even if you take the idea of the Nat 1 thing, where you just have a 5% chance of messing your job up every day, whenever you do like anything, it creates a world with very unrealistic like standards. And so Anima Beyond Fantasy, you can put points into a skill, and if you wanted to, you could put enough points into a skill where the standard checks can just be pretty much always succeeded. They do technically have a fail chance of like 3% in the game, but it doesn't really come up as often, it feels like, as a 5% chance. I mean, 2% shouldn't be that much, but it feels a lot better. And technically in Anima, once you get above 200 in a skill, you reduce that chance even further for failure.
Right.
It does that. It has different systems for every type of character. A magic character plays and builds their character differently than a martial weapon using character. They also have summoning as a whole unique system onto itself. They have psychic abilities, which is a whole unique system than anything else. And more and more and more. I could go on and on and on. The system has...
It is such a fun game, and I'll shield this, of course, for any time it's brought up for the audience. I got a video on my channel going over the insanity of Anima, how fun of a game it is. But I liken it to a dumpster fire, where it is a game that has a lot of issues. And unless you know what you're getting into, you should probably get away from the fumes. Some of us are too far gone, so like we can just stay here. It is a game where I have yet to have the same mechanical satisfaction of using the Anima's psychic or summoning abilities. Because summoning is literally part of your character sheet is now the monster manual. Like, that's just so open to you. Psychic is, I love psychic things. Telekinetics are like one of my favorite power sets and like style of character. It's so satisfying to have a character that does telekinesis and like does it well. It's so fun, but then on the other hand, it's an unbalanced, horrific mess because quite literally, the devs just, if they watched an anime or something, they put it in, because like you can literally get a Death Note. Like there's a magic tree for that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's another bit that I think is a good indication of this game. If you can think of a character from any form of media, you can make it an anima. I have a good friend of ours. For my video, he made an accurate the Namek Saga Goku.
Oh wow!
Like right with when he's fighting Frieza, you can go Super Saiyan. He can shoot a Kamehameha. Because Ki is another system in this game where you can
of course.
Where if you're like, I don't want to do psychic or magic, I kind of want to make my own powers. Here you go, make your own things, and I'm certain insanity can ensue easily because I played a Ki wielder, and I realized really quickly, oh, I could make like a 500-mile artillery strike like really easily.
Yeah, I will say, despite what we said, it's not a game that rips anime concepts and be like, hey, here's light Yagami in our book. No, it's a game that attempted to recreate in its own systems the abilities to do many of these things. And very well, I have to add. The problem is, two starting characters can be on such different ends of the power scale, and there's literally you have to be good at the game to make a good character. If you're bad at the game, you will make a bad character.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, where it's like...
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah, it's like the crunchier games. It's like, it's fun, but like, do those games have it set up to where the first time I'm playing this, I can play a satisfying character? Might not be optimal, and that's okay, but is it still fun to play this kind of character? Like Lancer surprisingly fits that, despite it being as like crunchy as it can get. But like, there's been other games where I'm like Pathfinder 1E, for example, where it's like, oh, hold on, I didn't spec right.
Yeah.
Oh, I took the dual shot instead of the quick shot feat for my ranger. So now I'm actually just kind of screwed until we level up again, and then I can take the proper feat. So then I can then take the correct feat after that feat that I need to take in order to fire 3 arrows like Robin Hood. It's like, yeah, that kind of stuff can be very problematic. Where versus like more rules like game where it's like, I want to make, let's say, light Yagami. It's like, cool, here you go, you made him. It's like, great.
Yeah. I rage quit this game like 4 years ago. It was too much work, and I was like, all right, I'm going to play D&D 5e because at least this is very easy to run in comparison. And it was. I met my wife at Adventures League running games. So, like, I have as much shade as we give D&D 5e all the time, because I think anyone who takes tabletop seriously does. I left Anima because it was just such a train wreck, and now like a few years wiser, a few years with more experience under my belt, I think I can handle it again, and I'm gonna add even more crazy systems, because whatever. And it's ironic because I'm going to do in Anima exactly what I've chastised D&D 5e for, which is just I'm going to play Anima, which is inherently not a good game, but I'm going to make it better by homebrewing the shit out of it. And you know what? No shame. Anima at its base is way more interesting than D&D 5e. Fight me on it. More to the audience, but so
Okay, so
anyway,
5e. Hold on, let me get my whiteboard.
yeah.
Let me pull up
We
my,
all
my
know that What is
defense here.
Tabletop are the biggest 5e stands on the internet.
100%. We're just waiting for that Wizards of the Coast check to come in, and then we could be like, psych, best game ever is 5e.
Yeah.
2024 edition.
Oh. Yeah.
Let me tell you. So
Sure.
when the rules were first coming out for it, I was actually excited because it was making some changes, like the Warlock was going to get reinvented. There were some ideas there that actually fit pretty well. And so this is what rule by committee ends up doing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, so we kind of changed some stuff, but not really. And we added this new subsection that could have just been a supplement for weapons. That's it. That's all we did. Here's a not new edition of D&D. Everybody, please give us $180 for 3 books.
I've been long saying I believe D&D 2024 exists because Hasbro executives believe the average audience is too stupid to know what a new edition is. Like, because I think it is purely that their fear is that people who like D&D will hear there's a new D&D and be like, why would I get a new D&D? I'll play the old thing, and like not want to jump from 6th edition from 5th edition, because like I also like got myself a business degree too, so like the bits I've studied on it, it's all I can look at it and just like, if I had to be in that position as an executive, that is a safer bet. Just like, we're not making a new thing, we're making an update, because that is a lot easier for like for them to wrap their head around, being a safer option.
Yeah.
That's
like,
my own theory.
Yeah, but then like, I don't know, people like, I played the 2024 rules and I'm like, nah, I don't know what it is. Somehow it's worse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
I've heard that.
Yeah, like they get rid of some of the fun parts. Like they make paladins not as strong, and it's like, I get that you want to balance it, but like there comes a point when like it doesn't matter. Like in my opinion, I don't necessarily think everything has to be balanced. The feel should be balanced, right? I think it's completely fair to say everyone should feel like they're contributing an equal amount, or they feel like they're doing what their character is designed to do. But that doesn't necessarily equivalate to we are all dealing the same amount of damage or taking the same, and there's upsides and downsides that have been equally weighed. It's like, no, like the healer should be good at healing, right? If you're designing a game around specific roles, which let's be honest, D&D kind of already does that anyway. 4th edition explicitly did that. 2024 rules kind of does it, but without saying that. And like, yeah, as long as your character does the thing that they want to do, I think that's the case. So like, our group tried to do 2024. Daggerheart comes out. I'm like, guys, can we please play Daggerheart? And we converted everyone's characters to Daggerheart. And I literally heard from my cleric, this is much better. I actually feel like I'm doing something. Like, and I'm like, oh, great. Like, awesome. And like, we have a guy who exclusively plays barbarians. Like, exclusively. That is him. He will find the barbarian version in any game and he'll play that. And we try to get him to play anything but human barbarian. And he's like, no, why would I? No, human barbarians forever. He can't play a barbarian in Daggerheart. There's kind of like, it kind of gets split between the warrior and the guardian. He went with the warrior, and he's having like, he ironically made the best build out of anybody. Where like every time he rolls with hope, he gets a resource, but every time he rolls with fear, he also gets a resource, and he's able to utilize that to deal an insane amount of damage to everybody. That stuff is like super fun, and I'm really glad that like we're having a lot more fun playing Daggerheart that doesn't care about balance as much as like D&D does.
Yeah, I think the point of it being almost like rules by committee is a good way of putting it. Like I personally am such a big fan of like auteur media. Like I like to feel the hand of the creator in whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's interestingly, it's one of the reasons I like anima so much, because like I can criticize the system all I want, but like I feel the people who made it being
Mhm.
excited about what they're writing, and I want to feel that in like a lot of games. I don't really feel that with D&D. Daggerheart is something I can feel that like, oh, that it looks like they completely care about it. Like I think the
Right.
rules are interesting enough. Uh, it's not my exact like type of fantasy art direction, but like that's my if my criticism is a surface level, I look at it and I'm like, I wish this was like dark fantasy. I think that's good criticism. Like it means
Yeah,
I don't have a lot else to pull right now.
absolutely. I yeah, I just again I like playing games.
Hmm.
Same.
Controversial take there. Like we're playing. So Charles is unable to join us for a few weeks in our normal play group, so we're taking a break and playing the Dune RPG by
Oh
Modiphius.
yeah,
Ooh,
yeah, I've seen that one.
So
yeah.
we played for a little bit. Charles ran a Fallout RPG
Hmm.
in the Modiphius setting, and that's pretty crunchy because it wants to take specifically Fallout 4's gameplay and make it an tabletop RPG, and
Yep.
it works pretty well at doing that. And it's surprisingly crunchy, and like you have to take a perk every level, and like knowing what you can use certain things for, and like each of your special stats does unique stuff. And I definitely made a luck build that broke the game. It was great, and
As they do.
so I'm like, yeah. And so I'm like, okay, how is Dune gonna be different? And it's rules light. Like it's almost on the opposite spectrum. It
Yeah.
really cares about the character you're making. And that fits for Dune.
Yeah.
That
It
makes
fits
a
a
lot of
lot.
sense. And like there's an espionage like encounter that you can do, and it can tell you like how you do encounters and stuff like that. You don't have hit points in Dune. You have assets. And
Hmm.
so like if you get knocked out, you can be knocked out of the fray, or you can choose to use like momentum to keep being in the fray, or you could give threat to the GM so that you stay in the fray as well. And then you take out enemies by getting rid of an asset. So like our marshal character, he can when you get rid of an asset, you can get rid of a second asset. So if he's fighting two dudes in a zone and he gets rid of one, he immediately gets rid of the other. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That
Hmm.
fits flavor wise, and it's
Hmm.
not too crunchy, but it gets you the same appeal of like I am the guy who's good at fighting. Boom, boom, you're out. So like I enjoy when that happens. I understand that there's a lot of companies that basically want to make like their game and then just utilize that. If you're Magpie Games, you steal from Powered by the Apocalypse and just constantly use
Yeah.
that for everything.
Yeah.
But I don't mind that to some extent. I always like it when they then are able to lean into what they're doing well and make it feel different than the same system that is being used elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know, I'm also curious just because like I've idly looked into the Dune game, but not anything else.
Mhm.
Is it set at a specific point in the story, like of the books, or is it just kind of like, meh?
There are source books that so like there's an Arrakis source book
Okay.
that gives you all the information and it can tell you about that. Um, it even says in the game like your campaign could take place over thousands of years. Like creating a character is super simple, and they even have rules for creating a character as you're playing the character because
Hmm.
you might be like, I'm gonna be in the scene. Oh, but my character's not in the scene because they're on a different planet. Okay, I'm gonna play this random guard who's like the lieutenant of the section that's going with our ruler to have this negotiation. And so like they really expect you to just kind of like you can have a main character that you're constantly playing and going back to, but you might fill in elsewhere and be like the swords master who's accompanying the ruler that you didn't realize you were going to be playing until just now. You might play over the course of a long period of time where like I started as the heir and then we jump like 20 years, 30 years now, and now I'm the ruler because my parents have died off and now I'm in charge of this thing and let's see what has come about it. So again, it's more focused on the story you're trying to tell over the course of time. And then it has supplements that say like if you want to do it during this time or that time, here's some information you can have, but it doesn't necessarily specify a specific um time frame or like you're not like you must be under either the Harkonnens or the Atreides. Like no, you could just be your own major house that's under another feudal house that you just came up with that day.
That makes sense. Like, I was
Mhm.
wondering if they were handling it in a similar way as there's that Dune survival game, which is like surprisingly fun.
Yeah, I've
But
heard about it. Yeah.
like the whole big bit is essentially Paul Atreides wasn't born. Jessica had a
Mhm.
girl instead. Like
Right.
that's the split it's doing. Like that does sound
Mhm.
like a cool system, especially for like a world that's really set up. You can make like a full noble house in that way that goes through the dynasties.
Yeah, and then you also, depending on how big your house is, you roll for rivals,
Oh, fun.
and you roll for how much they hate you, which is great. You roll for how much they hate you and what the reason for that hate is. So, like our group, we have a major house and a minor house that hate us. Uh, and so the major house is like, we're rivals with you. It's like, okay, why are we rivals? Oh, there was a slight in court. It's like, so at some point we said, hey, those guys like illegally parked one time. Um, Maybe do something about that. And they're like, how dare you? We hate you forever now. But then the minor house has a full blown hatred, like hates us more than the major house. Why? Another slight in court. And so it's like, oh, well then obviously those two are going to team up to take down the house that we made. Which, by the way, we made the I'm the game master in that. They made a terrible house. Basically, they make genetically modified servants that they sell to other houses that to gain favors from them. Also, they're secretly assassins that they can employ at any point to kill people who they need to.
That
Yeah,
that sounds in line. That I could see that happening.
yeah. And then they're like, well, if we're going full evil, let's just call ourselves House Judas and get away. So it's great.
This is the fun part, right? Because we've talked about in this one video, we've talked about so many different types of games. The full gradient from, we mentioned Dread, which is all about themes, role playing, and the vibe. And we've talked about Anima, which is very much about combining vibe and crunchy rules together in a very interesting way. Uh, it's it's great to see someone who's really interested in talking about the span of games,
Mhm.
because like as much as I am looking for my own, like what's my white whale, call me Ishmael. uh I really do enjoy like the full breadth. I mean, this year has been the year I've bought the most TTRPGs just off the cuff for fun. I bought Cloudbreaker Alliance, which was just a super weeby JRPG, TTRPG. I bought Draw Steel because I was very interested in what
Nice.
Matt Colville was doing.
Same.
And I mean, Cosmere came out this year, and we're playing through Cosmere currently and really enjoying the game. It's really fun.
I'm super excited for Mistborn. I read those
Me
books.
too.
Yeah.
And Charles and I got to play a little bit at Gen Con. We got to play in the Wax and Wayne era.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
The best era. The
Yeah.
best Cosmere thing era too. I'll die on that hill. It's
Yeah.
so sick. I'm gonna do my best to not play a steel pusher because I want to pretend I'm wax. Like I'm gonna have to do my best.
It's gonna be hard to not just be Wax or Wayne. I got to be Rioter. That was actually a lot of fun. I was
Ooh.
surprised at how well they made it work. Like genuinely.
Oh my.
It
That's
was
Okay, that makes me excited because I haven't looked into it so far. One of my bigger complaints with the game recently has mostly just been combat has at the lower levels has felt like, okay, I gain advantage and then I attack, and that's
yeah.
about it. And then the individual powers, some of them are just a little bit more loosey goosey than others, and
What? No.
they very much range in like the game feel in especially in contrast to like how the game normally is. Like the Else Caller is funny enough, I feel like fit a lot better because transformation's very simple by design. They don't have any systems really for what happens when you really transform anyone. They're either dead gas, dead stone, or very hurt gas or stone, maybe fire. Um but that's pretty straightforward, honestly. But then you get something like Stone Wardens who have cohesion and tension, where
Mhm.
they make stone very soft or they make cloth very hard. And they have some very mechanic focused things, and some other things are just like work it out, figure it out, figure it out yourself. Uh,
Yeah.
so hearing
No,
that rioting feels good makes me excited for how the game's gonna feel in a year.
yeah, basically what happened is my character is a writer. Charles was playing a Koloss blooded like ex-criminal, and this police officer comes and is like, I'm after you. And then Charles is like, oh, that's the character from my backstory. She like left me to die. And I'm like, oh, so she doesn't care about honor. Got it. And so they're fighting in a speed bubble, which I was also interested to know how they were going to use speed and slow bubbles. That's
Yeah.
super fascinating. Um, basically, it forces you to take the slow turn, and then you only get one action in the slow turn.
Yeah.
It's actually, I was like, that makes sense. That's how you would justify that.
Yeah.
And so, but as a rioter, I can pick a zone, like a 10 by 10 grid, like spot, and be
Right.
like, all right, everyone who fails this check feels this emotion. And if they want to try to push back, they can. But if not, they take um, focus, they lose focus. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to make her feel shame because I know what she did to my colleague. And apparently that was like one of her, like, is if she feels shame, it like automatically loses all of her focus. And then she didn't make the roll, so she immediately just stops fighting. And it's like, shame.
The focus
was great.
system has honestly been Cosmere's, I think, real like claim to fame in the current TTRPG space, because it's not a mana system. It's not designed to be a mana system.
Right.
It's generally rechargeable. Not that rechargeable, but generally. And I think more specifically, it represents a character's overall drive in a scene. And so removing that can be used in combat, but in narrative as well, which makes it feel really good, actually.
Yeah. That sounds like a really good way to, because the part that also excited me with Cosmere, granted, I was never going to make a character like this, but I'd be happy if someone else did, is like having non-combat characters, like that's not their vibe at all, but they still have something to do.
Yeah.
That
was me.
I think is really important.
I think it was like we did like 3 combat encounters, and it wasn't until the final encounter where I finally hit somebody with my dueling king. Like the whole time I'm like encouraging people and giving them like the plot die, and then like I can encourage an enemy, and so when they would have the plot die, I actually gain it. Like there's stuff like that I was able to
Interesting.
do.
That sounds so
It was
cool.
super fun.
Oh,
That
sounds sick.
We had a guy who was a luck, like could modify luck, and so he could make it to where he would never roll a blank side on the plot die.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's super clever. So like we could like combo with each other where it's like I give you like I make you determined, so you'll have a plot die, and then he's like, cool, so I'll never roll a problem, so I'll hopefully get an opportunity. Yeah, some of those powers I'm like, wow, you guys actually thought about that. Like it actually works surprisingly well.
Yeah, it sounds like we're gonna enjoy Mistborn more than Stormlight. Stormlight is good, and I think it has a lot of potential, but I feel like Stormlight will be better when Mistborn systems will be layered on top of it. So
yeah, and it's such a fun setting. I know that the intended thing, which I find really interesting, having read those books, like Cosmere is made to be a bit more combat styley, which is fun for a book series that's largely people talking to each other. And then Era 2 Mistborn, which is like a full action romp. Like it's so action packed, like hype. And it's meant to be more
Indiana
political
Jones,
intrigued. Like, because my thing I immediately thought of is like, oh, Era 2 Mistborn, what if we did a gentleman adventurer style game where we're playing an Indiana Jones fantasy game? Like that's you're just going out in the waste looking for treasure. Like that sounds so fun.
Yeah, you really could. I read the books too, so it helped that I knew a lot of things, but Charles hadn't, and he had a blast. He was basically just a gunslinging Koloss blooded. And granted, the guy who ran it for us did a phenomenal job and like was able to like really play off. It was really funny when it's like we start a race. Long story, but we start a street race, and he's like, "Okay, how did you contribute to your fast start?" And someone's like, "Well, I'm flooring it," and they didn't do well. Someone else is like, "I tried this, they didn't do well." I'm like, luckily, I paid off the two drivers ahead of us, and they're also stalling out. We'll make it work, guys. I just like had to erase my boxings and be like, but I do think it could work out pretty well. The villain we fought, who just could not go down, was like we were doing everything to take her out, and we eventually did. But she would deploy a slow bubble, so everybody in it slow turn, one action, and then she could speed herself up with a metal mind.
And so that's dirty.
Yeah. Interesting. So that didn't feel unfun to go against.
I mean, let it be known, we did get a little rules heavy. So like, if you are entering in to a zone, like let's say you take a slow turn and you enter
Mhm.
into it, you then lose, like you gain the 2 points of slow, and then you have to use an action to get rid of each one. But there was a way we made it to where it's like, well, technically, he's entering in, he's losing it, but then he has 3 more actions he can do in the slow bubble. Like just the way it was phrased, where it's like at the start of his turn, he wasn't slowed. But then like when it reset, because the next slow hasn't been applied yet, he's actually able to do something at least for one round.
I see.
So
Yeah.
it worked a little bit. And honestly, all it did was basically make us have to be more like cautious of like, okay, if we fire into there, let's be like sure we're gonna try to like be okay if the bullet ricochets or not. Or if we're not gonna fire into there, it's like fine. I, as the rioter, stand outside of the bubble and I'm like, zone. I'm gonna hit that area and hopefully, influence them from an emotional standpoint. But it didn't feel too bad. It was just the fact that it's like, will this lady go down? Like we have
Yeah.
tried to kill her.
Interesting. I mean, like, I'd probably have to see it to like fully grasp
Yeah.
exactly how it is. From the outside, it's just like you were slowed and she was fast. That sounds like terrible time in any other TTRPG. So
But again, that was built for that exact thing. Like you
yeah,
can
yeah,
have a
yeah.
slow bubble where it still affects you the same way, right? But obviously, in that situation, you're kind of pulling. I forget her name in the Wax and Wayne book, where
Marcy.
yeah, where she literally does that intentionally. Like, yeah, I'm slowed, but you're slowed too, and oh look,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
now you're screwed. Drop the bubble, bang.
yeah, because I know you haven't read them, Cam. They're like literally like at least in the books, they're translating it well here. Like it is a time bubble you are making. Like it's like a little shimmer of
Right.
air, so you can even trick people that like they won't realize that a bubble has happened, if they're inside or outside of it. There's the speed version where like everything is super fast. Like so on the outside, they just see you in fast forward for like a second or two, and
Yeah.
but in your time, you've had like 20-30 seconds of like little like let's say we'll powwow figure it out. Slow
Yeah,
time is the little reverse where like if it's up for long enough, a day could pass. Um, where at like inside it's real time, but outside everything is in fast forward. And I like that detail of also in the books. If you cannot really shoot outside of these time bubbles, like you can't hide in
right.
one and shoot because it'll just go off in a weird direction because like it'll
Time.
just kind of ricochet on itself. Time is
Yeah,
weird.
Yeah. I mean, I
That's
grasped
sick.
roughly, but
Oh
mechanically
yeah,
speaking is interesting.
and it's
Um,
good to hear that mechanically I love just seeing like, oh, it's the thing I love, mechanically expressed properly. Like that's
yeah,
so hype.
yeah. Because I was just super interested of like, how are they going to do that? And then luckily that happened to be the module that they ran for us, and I was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah, like so literally the two things I'm most curious about is the emotional allomancy and the
Mhm.
bubbles. Like how are those gonna work mechanically? Sick. They work great. Love to hear it.
Yeah. What's interesting is you can choose to. I mean, I think it's the same in Stormlight, but you can choose to spend focus to resist an effect of something if
yes.
you succeed, right? So like, it's still the same way with the emotional allomancy
Yeah.
of like, I'm influencing you. Okay, well, I'm going to spend focus. So like, I am still doing something. It's just not the full effect I could have had. But like, I was still like whittling away her focus, and so as we kept whittling it away, I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna save, because I had a whiskey flax that I could like refill
Yeah.
my magic, my mana.
Your
My,
elementic metals, yeah.
right. I could do that, and so I was like, oh, I'll do this all day. I don't care. Like I'll keep burning it and burning it if it means uh getting her out of the fight. And so yeah, it worked pretty well. So I'm curious to see how the rest of the powers all work out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. There's
I
a
would
lot
be
of like
too.
the emotions that I want to see because I'm curious because I feel like the powers are going to interact with each other well. That's something
Yeah.
they're probably going to be implementing the resonance. And I know we're going to get a good view of it because I would put money on it that our friend, I think Booter is going to do emotional allomancy. I think he's going
I'm
to play it right.
sure.
That's just his vibe.
Yeah.
Uh and I can't wait till next year because they'll probably have me in the playtest stuff as well as they did this year, so
Ooh.
this time. So, because I actually had it a bit early, and actually on the Brotherwise channel, I'm in the live play that they showed off Stormlight when it
Oh,
dropped.
nice.
So,
Cool.
hopefully I'll get in early this next year and get a big look at it. I still got a bunch of videos on Stormlight I have to do though. But
Oh, I was saying I would if they're able like I would love to do an actual play because we do actual plays as well. They don't get
mhm.
views, but it's fine. I would love to
Live
do
plays
one.
are hard in general to do, to be fair.
Yeah. But like I have a miscloak. I have a friend of mine who for my birthday made me two obsidian daggers.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so
well,
hype.
I'll let Metalworks know because they were the ones who did
Appreciate it.
the Foundry module.
Yeah. I would
Um,
yeah. But like
s-
if I could get the rules early, I will happily like time it with the release of the books and be like, it's ready. Here's
yeah,
us
yeah.
playing in era 1 or era 2 of Mistborn.
And they're gonna have an adventure, or they're gonna have a path, a book that spans both eras, which is
Correct.
interesting. So that's gonna be very cool. Don't want to take up too much more of your time than necessary, but obviously, with someone who likes variety tabletop, and it seems like you've been especially digging into as many games as you can manage with your time. What game do you find the most interesting currently, or have found the most interesting in recent times?
I just did a video on mechanics to steal from Forged in the Dark games.
Hmm.
And there was always an issue I had with Forged in the Dark games where like you make the dice pool, you're rolling it, and you're basically just taking one result. And like I understand that the way it's set up is that the die is always the same difficulty, but I like being able to ratchet up or lower difficulty as needed
Right.
to some extent. And so Wild Sea has that
Ah,
mechanic
Wild
where
Sea. Yeah.
yeah, the cut mechanic where you could say this is actually difficult. So cut 1, meaning whatever you roll, you get rid of the highest value and now your second highest value is actually what you do. Or you could
Hmm.
do cut 2 or 3. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that like that actually makes me want to play a Forged in the Dark game even more now that I could just be like, "Cool, cool. You're going to jump from this rooftop, Mr. Broken Leg. Got it. Cool. Cut 3." It's like,
That's interesting. Yeah, I saw Wild Sea at our local game store, and I was like tempted to grab it, but I was like, oh
oh,
no. I
that's same thing happened to me. It was at my one of my game stores. I saw it. I did some research. I'm like, "Oh no, I need a chainsaw boats." Yes,
yeah.
please.
And like everything I've seen Wild Seed do are all things I've responded with like, oh man, that's really cool. The
Yeah.
world building is sick, and that's the first thing I look into as a lore guy. Like that everything it's I saw of its setting was just so interesting. And that vibe of adventure in a really unique way. And then
Yeah.
it looks like it's expressing it mechanically well enough. I've recommended Wild Seed to people. I just have the understanding of the base idea of like how the game works, nothing deeper.
Yeah, I always tell people the lore or like stuff like that, the genre is going to get people to take a look at it. The mechanics are what going to get people to constantly be playing your game.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's the same with Wild Sea, where it's like, oh, I could be a cactus guy.
Yeah.
All right,
All right, you
or I
hooked
could be
me.
weird spider thing. Sure.
So just to like I guess reinforce. So you really like the Forged in the Dark system, but
Mhm.
you would like to temper it with the Wild Seas
Yeah, the
mechanics a
cut
little
mechanic.
bit.
Yeah,
Anything else
I
about
mean,
Forge? Sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good. Any other mechanics? I mean, I literally just went through a bunch of them. Hack the Planet has a real no, Beam Saber. Beam Saber has a really interesting idea of um you have to spend when during your downtime, you can hang out with another party member
Mm,
and then you forge a bond which you can then use to gain XP. And then by having those bonds forged, you then can spend stress to help out an ally in combat, which then allows you to then want to have downtime so you can get rid of the stress.
I love
And it
that.
just creates this it's a really cool loop there. Yeah, just go check it out. It's called Steal like it's a video about stealing from mechanics from Blades in the Dark. It has like all of my favorite mechanics. The flashback mechanic, no notes, great. Great for any like heist-esque game of like, sure, sure, we're about to lose here, but actually, I foresaw this happening, and thus flashback. Like
Yeah.
that's such a great. I love that.
Good, good. It has been a pleasure. I did say an hour, so and I know it's a little bit
Yeah, no,
later.
it's been an hour. It's fine. No one needs to know.
It's been a pleasure. Go check out Frank's channel at What Is Tabletop. I if you are interested in videos on tabletop theory, it's a great channel to go to. Honestly, I've been contemplating doing the same thing. Most of my videos have just been like for people who are interested in a game. Because like what I try to do with my channel is just to make people understand more of the intricacies of a tabletop to the point where it's not about damage numbers. It's about what you bring to the experience. And so like when I started off with Pathfinder, I was doing the not high damage number classes to be like, hey guys, I understand the damage is cool and getting the big number is fun. But let me tell you about how Bard is just one of the most ridiculous classes in the game because objectively speaking, when you have what's now it was like goodness, they've changed the cantrip's name. It was now it's a anthem or courageous anthem now. That +1 to everyone's attack bonus is actually a huge swing on your team's side on everything. And all you have to do is just sing a little tune and spend a single action. And you're a full caster. That's insane. Or even doing that with it's a I forget what the other one is that can do for skill checks, but that's also really good for skill checks in love. Like expert, it's essentially guidance, but for everyone at once, and there's no cooldown on it. It's really really strong, and in stuff like that, I love tabletop theory, and it's good to hear that people are interested in tabletop theory, because it's something that we're entering into a really interesting age in tabletop because like there was like the 90s boom where there's a whole bunch of like games kind of doing new things. White Wolf came out with their dice system and their various system and the World of Darkness and all that kind of stuff, and they were doing some interesting things. Is also the same era that Shadowrun was really like taking off and kind of deviating from D&D at the time, but many games at that time were very inspired by early editions of D&D and GURPS was hugely inspirational at the time. So everything kind of felt very touched by that. And while we still kind of have that with D&D 5e kind of just infecting a lot of games, I would say, rather than inspiring, I have been seeing a lot more interesting systems that are kind of coming out. And with Sword World 2.5 coming to English this next year, that's Japan's D&D essentially. And
Where's Blades is also coming out.
Yeah, and with Cosmere's system, I think Cosmere has some really good systems coming out. And then obviously, of course, all the Powered by the Apocalypse and their various systems, plus Genesis's system, and I've heard a lot about Cypher's system as well. I feel like we're coming into an era where we're going to start seeing some game systems pop that are going to revolutionize tabletop. I mean, who isn't stealing Pathfinder's 3 action system nowadays? It's just becoming way, way more common.
Yeah, we did a video on actions and everyone talks about how much they love action points. Like, even in Daggerheart, we basically use action points.
Yeah.
Like, so.
And to be fair, I will say, for the nerds out there, I understand Pathfinder 2nd Edition wasn't the first one to do this. They're just the one who did it cool. So... but yeah, thank you so much. Anything you want to leave us off with before we head out for today?
Yes. Convince more people to play not D&D. I mean, at this point, I'm assuming they're already doing that. Yeah, that's it. Play more games, I guess. Stay witty. That's what we say. That's what we say at the end of videos. Stay witty.
Yeah, Charles isn't here to remind you.
I know. So that's a shame.
But all right, that's gonna be it for us. Alex, I guess anything you want to leave off? I should remember you're here anyway.
Yeah. Well, if you like lore videos, go check out my channel. It's Glue Boy. Recently, we cover many different games, but recently we're going to be on a Vampire the Masquerade kind of kick because Hakata has a lot of lore in development. So I got to go through all the context. I just put out a video on Clan Cappadocian like yesterday, as of we're recording this now. Next is Giovanni, so we're going through. I gotta tell the story of the family. Yeah, I'm a big
It's like
WoD
kind of like a
nerd.
horoscope a little bit, the different vampire clans.
True. I'm a big WoD nerd, so I'm happy to cover it whenever.
Okay. Well,
For sure.
good luck with your games. Leave the bad luck to me, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.